now we are going to go to the funniest part of our show.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the looming government shutdown that will happen on Friday. This is the most, we've talked about this on almost every podcast we've done.
Yep.
Unfortunately, because our government is totally paralyzed. We have 4 days until a partial government shutdown goes into effect. And we currently have no plan to get out of it. There's no plan to avoid it as of right now. As of Tuesday, February 27th.
No plan.
No plan. As of right now, people say that there is absolutely no plan.
Okay.
So this is what it is.
Yeah.
What gets shut down? The Departments of Agriculture, Energy, Transportation, Veterans Affairs, Housing and Urban Development, and the FDA all get impacted by certain things. FDA won't be able to do food inspections. There's issues with, payments for SNAP and other benefits like that. Veteran benefits get hurt. What's the thing? Permits for new housing development, all that gets put on standby. I know, it's so bad. So Elizabeth Warren said something really great, and this is how I feel all the time. It's like, what is wrong with these people? This is the central thing Congress is supposed to do. Right now, the Republicans can't seem to get themselves organized just to sign off on the basic work they're supposed to do. This is just ridiculous. Now, John Tester, he's a Democrat senator from Montana. He's running in a tight re-election bid. He says, we're doing this every 6 months. This is bullshit. It's just bullshit. And so we need to do what we were elected to do, fund the government, not shut it down. Even Joe Manchin, a West Virginia Democrat, the moderate's moderate, he's saying, I swear to God, it is sinful what is going on. And the games that are being played right now with the American people and all the people that are depending on services of the federal government, and we can't even get our act together. I'm glad they're all like this angry and vocally this angry publicly.
Yeah.
Because this is how I feel. And I think this is how a lot of Americans feel when they just see performative nonsense.
See, this is how I felt the last 3 times we came up to the shutdown, and now I can't help but laugh. It's the only thing I have left.
Yeah, it's just laughter.
Yeah. But that should go to show you how absurd this is.
Right.
Like this is complete. Like it's like this would be in Veep. Right, it would be in like a political absurdist comedy show.
Yes.
We would see this kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's absurdist comedy. It's almost like they have a humiliation fetish.
Yes.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
They're just they're punching each other. They're punching themselves in the balls just as we look along. McConnell has come out and he's like, listen, it is all avoidable if the House and Senate can just work together. Mitch McConnell is begging Mike Johnson to get the ducks in a row. They're like, please, please.
It's crazy to me that Mitch McConnell and Mike Johnson are in the same party.
I know.
Do they share anything in common besides the fact that they have both attached their names to the letter R to like
tax
get power?
cuts, bro?
I guess
tax
but
cuts.
Do you think Mike Johnson even cares about tax cuts? Like I have no indication.
But then this gets into the larger conversation.
Yeah.
What is the Republican Party?
Yeah.
It's a mixture of a couple different things. It's a mixture of evangelicals who vote based off religious grounds and abortion. Mm-hmm. It's the national security conservatives. That's where Mitch McConnell comes in, right?
But it's also the isolationists.
But then it's also the isolationists and the America Firsters.
Yep.
Right? Who are the cultural and kind of ethnic reactionaries.
Yep.
And then you have the tax cut business people.
Yeah.
Right. And Mitch McConnell fits into the tax cut business person plus Social Security. Mike Johnson fits into the tax cut business person. Then the abortion side. He's not an isolationist, but he's also not a national security hawk. So it's just. It's a very, very hodgepodge big tent.
Mike Johnson is nothing. He's an evangelical, but besides that, he's just a politician.
Right.
Like he's not ideologically sound on anything.
No. Definitely not. Definitely not ideologically sound on anything. We'll talk about that. Definitely not.
Yeah.
This is what's crazy to me is 2 months ago, Speaker Johnson and Chuck Schumer had a funding agreement, and they went behind the closed doors. They had a meeting. They sat down and they ironed out a whole budget agreement. It was $1.66 trillion. That was the top line. And the agreement was, okay, we're going to do the deal that Kevin McCarthy made to increase the debt limit, if everyone remembers that fiasco. And what you'll do in return, Mike Johnson was like, okay, Schumer, what you'll do in return for me is speed up taking money away from the IRS. But then all that went down. And then he gets out of the room. He goes back to his caucus. He's like, guys, this is what I got. And everyone's like, fuck you. You suck.
Like, that was terrible.
You suck.
And
You're
he comes
terrible.
in excited.
Yeah.
He's like expecting a big warm welcome. They're like, what are you doing in there? It's like, oh.
So now Schumer is like, why trust anything Johnson ever says? He has no power anyway. It's not like anything he says means anything for the way the House will vote, how the caucus will vote, how the caucus feels, how the Republican voters feel. None of it's relevant.
No.
So why even negotiate with Mike Johnson at this point, right? There's no reason.
There is no good reason.
And now, because he's on a leash with these hard right Freedom Caucus House members, they sent him a letter. They sent Johnson a letter saying that if their priorities are not met, they will shut down the government. Flat out. Multiple Republicans are claiming that they will shut down the government unless something is done about the border. And we have to keep in mind that Biden worked with Republicans and Democrats in the Senate to iron out a border deal that was the toughest border deal in like a decade and a half. Too tough for my liking, but I would have ate it, okay? And now it gets to the House, and the House Republicans light that shit on fire because Donald Trump doesn't want Biden to have a quote-unquote win before the election.
Yes, then that is the entire reason.
No, that's the whole story.
Whole story.
That's the whole story. That's it. There's no fundamental disagreement with the principles. It's just Donald Trump said no, and we agree.
Well, the only other part of this story that I would add is the Republicans in the House specifically used the excuse that they don't need any additional laws to secure the border, that they just need to enforce the laws that are currently on the books. And then as soon as they shot down the bipartisan border deal that Biden brought to the table, they said that we need to address our border with a law before addressing anything else.
I've never seen this type of cognitive dissonance in my life.
No.
In politics. I just haven't seen it.
I know so clear.
Right. Like, I know we're pretty young guys, but can you believe someone telling you one thing one day and then literally the next day having the exact opposite position? If you can find me any clip of Joe Biden doing that, please send it to me in the comments. Please, I'm begging you. If you can find it literally one day later. Literally the next day, okay? Don't send me something from like 20 years ago. The next day, please send that over because Jesus Christ.
It's nuts.
Now Johnson has two options, right? He can either do this and make a deal in the next 3 days, which is impossible, or he can pass a continuing resolution, which is what they've been doing forever since this whole process started.
Oh my God.
And what makes this so funny is Joe Biden will be proposing his 2025 budget in March 15th, which means that if he passes another continuing resolution, they will be arguing about the 2024 budget and the 2025 budget at the same time.
Absolutely insane.
Again, I don't know any other time in American history where that happened.
That is hilarious. It's an unprecedented time we're living through.
It's an unprecedented.
We're living through history.
We're living through history every day. Every day is history. Some days are just more fascinating than others. And holy shit, this Republican caucus makes every day an exciting day for history, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. It's a historically bad Congress.
Yeah, and then I want to talk about the amount of bills that have been passed by this Congress.
Yeah.
I wish I don't have the chart on me right now. I'm so upset. But we're talking about like a 40 to 50 to 60% reduction in the number of bills passed by the House of Representatives compared to like the normal average over the last 2 decades.
No, compared to like the next lowest number over the past 2 decades.
Oh my God.
Yes, it is so horribly below. It is absolutely crazy. It is the most unproductive Congress I think we've seen in history.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised I wouldn't be surprised. And so now somehow people still think this election is up in the air, but after the South Carolina primary and this, I just don't see it. Man.
No.
I don't see it. But all right.
It'll really be a referendum on how attentive and how much do American voters actually understand how government works.
That is so true.
And who is doing what.
Because like if people are blaming Biden for any of this, they are so disconnected from what's going on. If anybody can look at the government shutdown fight and think it's Joe Biden's fault, you are deluded. I'm sorry. You don't know what's happening. You gotta read more. You gotta listen more. You gotta figure something out.
You gotta branch out your sources.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who will just cheer for the government to be shut down.
That's true. There is like a portion of the Republican Party that just like, let's see it happen.
Yeah. But as far as anyone who is trying to be informed, like the media has been trying so hard to shove this down your throat that Republicans are breaking Congress. They are breaking government, right?